very good win at the Gabba.
It was an excellent win, and something that Fremantle needed to do, which they did. They got the result. That was first things first. But the way they played, Dick, especially in that first three quarters probably. The last quarter, Brisbane pegged it back a little bit, and they got a little bit hairy there at the end. I think it was 3 goals at one stage with 5 or 6 minutes to go. But Fremantle always in control. The better players stood up, which is pleasing, and that's something that they can take now to the bank going forward, looking at finals, plus playing the better sides. I think after the bye, they've got a Sydney and a Geelong thereabouts. So to play those sides, they've got a lot of confidence now going forward.
And no Sarong, no Young, so plenty of upside to come back. I want to touch on something that crossed my desk, and I think at times we overlook behind the scenes. Fremantle's recruitment has been very, very good. I mean, there's obviously a bit of luck in there. David Walls, son of Robert, has been, they're saying, the architect of the Fremantle list build. Been a bit of a target of recent times, and you can expect it with the Blue Baggers over there. He seems to want to stay at Dockers. They're the unheralded names, but Fremantle... Yes, top of the Wazza, you're giving praise as we should, and they're coming together. But their recruitment and the list management over the last few years, as opposed, perhaps, it's really chalk and cheese what's happened down the road at West Coast Eagles, has been really, really good, hasn't it?
It has, and they've stuck fat with what they said probably 5 or 6 years ago. This is the path we're taking with our recruiting, with our drafting. They got a couple of gems, really. When you look at Josh Tracy, Tracy on a rookie basis to get him, and now he's one of probably the best power forwards in the competition by far. So, to get him as a rookie, unbelievable. Murphy Reid, we've already talked about him, where they picked him up in that and how many teams missed him prior to that because, he might be a little bit slow or whatever. But, geez, he's quick by hand. And just, like I said, stuck fat with, the Sarongs, the Brayshaws. They went down a path. Matty Johnson, they got in. Erasmus, they kept him in the club. He could have easily gone. So, another good young kid coming through. I like the induction of Mason Cox into the club. Which is really good for them. So they've just done the right thing, but they haven't gone out and bought all these players. No. Judd McVeigh come in, which is a real good get. WA boy, and a half back flanker, back pocket player, really good. So they haven't. Shea Bolton recruited him, and then the main one, Dick. So they've gone to the draft with the Sarongs, the Brayshaws, the Youngs, and all these, and they've got Tracy and Murphy. But then they've gone and recruited a Bolton, a McVie, and then the number one recruit, Luke Jackson.
Yes, absolutely.
So those three, how good are those recruits? It really hasn't cost them much either. So well done to Fremantle. David Walls, well done.
Really
excellent
good
work. Him and his crew have done a terrific job. So they can only get better.
Now, obviously, we'll be doing our tipping later. Fremantle's road, now you touched on it last week. It's very promising against very good sides. There should be no easy game. Well, there shouldn't be. North Melbourne down at Hans Oval in Bunbury, which I think I'm sure they'll win, but I wouldn't take North Melbourne lightly going along well. They've then got a well-earned bye, and you've been pushing for a little bit of rotation, especially when they go on the road. They're then home for the following 2 weeks, Geelong and Gold Coast, before they travel to Western Sydney, GWS. One game at a time. Justin's keeping a lid on it. I think he's performing very well. I reckon you can see a change in his demeanour at the moment, and confidence brings it. But it's a nice-looking roadmap they've got in front of them over the next month or so.
Unbelievable.
You've said that all along.
Yeah, I think out of the last 11, I think they got 7 at home. There's no complaints there. It's a bit like Collingwood, staying at the G or Etihad. So
it is.
Well done to Fremantle and West Coast. Because they deserve it. We're a travelling state. And at the end of the day, we've won premierships at West Coast travelling.
Yep.
Fremantle yet to do that, and I think they're going to be very close this year and in the coming years. So I think the AFL have slowly erred our way and giving us the North Melbourne home games.
Yes.
And a couple extra games or one at home. And I think that's the way it should be because the Collingwoods, the Essendons, the Carltons, they play 18 at home, either Etihad or MCG.
Yeah, well, they've had egg on their face the last couple of years. And I know it's a bit of a nightmare when you're fixturing, but Carlton were giving a very good run and not performing. Richmond, obviously. And now with that floating fixture list, which has now been confirmed, a spate of Thursday night and Friday night games on the national stage. It's 18 minutes past 10. This is the Sports Connection. Peter Sumich, Declan Kelly, live at Podcast Capital. Whilst we stay on Fremantle, I know you want to do an exercise, and we'll hold that till after the break, about team of yesteryear against team today, which is very interesting. The Mason Cox Darcy scenario. Now, Darcy's back playing waffle. I think he's, obviously he's got, he's going to be pushing for selection. Cox is not setting on the world on fire, but is doing a job. Nice dilemma to have.
Yep.
Where do you sit as we speak today with that sort of pending return of perhaps Darcy, or leave everything as is?
Look, right now I'd leave everything as is and let Darcy really work his way into the side with some quality form over a little period at Peel. It looks like he's trimmed down, Deck.
Yeah,
what I see,
so
a little bit of vision,
yep.
It looks like he has, which is terrific. Probably the main question with all this, Cox v Darcy, I think it boils down to who's going to look better up forward. We can't take away, I say we, Fremantle can't, and the coaching take away the minutes of Jackson out of the ruck. If they diminish them, I think they're in trouble. They're playing with fire. So they can leave them and say, well, Cox v Darcy, who's the best up forward? Because we've got to give them some minutes other than the ruck. They get their ruck minutes, and then they've got to play it forward. It's basically, that's where it sits for me. So who looks better up forward? So they'll make that decision going forward.
So he's just really got to keep going, looking good apparently, training well, hopefully over those injuries that he's had, and just earning his recall at the moment.
Sometimes it's better to maybe play 4 or 5 games where you're going, geez, am I going to get back in? But you've got to fight your way in, Deck, and you find some quality form at Peel. Enjoy your footy. So he should be down there enjoying his footy, not worrying about when he's going to get selected. I think he will by the end of the year, somewhere along the line. We'll see Darcy back in the side. But again, let him come in with some real quality form in the waffle.
Okay, going beautifully.